China has put an export ban on certain items to 28 U.S. defense companies. It is the first time Beijing has implemented new export control regulations on so-called dual-use items. The regulation took effect on December 1st. It bars access to listed firms to Chinese exports that can be used for military as well as civilian purposes. The U.S. firms include such big names as General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin Corporation, Boeing Defense, Space, and Security. Okay, and to discuss China's efforts to boost its foreign or international investment landscape, we are joined by Einar Tangen. Einar is a senior fellow at the Taihe Institute and chairman of Asia Narratives. Einar, always good to see you. Happy New Year, my friend.
Same, Sean.
Okay, let's talk about China's foreign investment law, clearly designed to foster more international capital coming into the country. What's new?
Okay, just put it in perspective. In 2001, China joins the WTO, and then over the preceding years, it enacts some protections for its fledgling industries so it doesn't get overwhelmed. 2017, they changed the law from listed areas where you could actually do business to a negative list of 11 different industries that you couldn't do. And now that is gone. Manufacturing, as of November 1st of this year, is no longer prohibited, and you'll note in your the reporter said that there is now access to government procurement. Very important to watch because this is a key factor in the CCTV criteria. This is the old TPP the U.S. rejected. Right. If they actually join in on that, it could be quite something.
Okay, now we heard an awful lot about international investment in early 2024 after last year's two sessions when it was first said that manufacturing and other entities, healthcare and such, were going to be open to international investors. What are your biggest takeaways from this new measure, however?
Well, I mean, the biggest takeaway is that it kind of enhances, as your report earlier indicated, the attractiveness of China. I mean, 30% of the world's growth, the largest stable market that is continuing to grow. You start looking at the numbers of over 6% increase in disposable income after inflation. All right, things like this, 45% of earnings were saved last year. You start looking at this and you understand that China has huge potential for business, both on the consumption side and on developing side. I mean, a lot of the companies coming into China are doing it in the high-tech area. They want to be part of the growth engine. You know, they look at EVs and things like this and they say, well, we don't want to miss out.
Okay, now you did talk about a number of things that are very positive, that government procurement, this massive middle class that has that disposable income. But let's talk about how FIL has impacted foreign investors' confidence in China since its implementation. There have been problems in the past with international entities sticking a toe into the waters in China, some concerns.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't understand the country you're going into, you're always going to have problems. I was chairman of my state's International Trade Council, and I used to say to people, don't go to another country unless you have something that they really want and you can protect it. If you don't, you're going into a hyper competitive area. China is not a place where you go in and you say, I'm going to offer this same mousetrap. So this is one of the impediments, this idea that you can just walk into China and because you're a foreign entity that everything will work out. You have to work in this market just like every other market. You know,
that's one thing I enjoy about talking with you. You have such experience in the United States in government and also all your experience in China and Asia. So if I may follow up a bit, the FIL is promising greater protection for intellectual property rights. So how effective has this been in addressing the concerns of foreign investors?
Well, if you talk to foreign investors, people who've actually had to use the system, they'll tell you it's a heck of a lot faster than the United States. The United States, you could be literally ground down by endless legal proceedings. It could take years, 30, 40 years before you see any results. China has a fast track in comparison. Most cases within a year. Almost all cases within 3 years are settled. And this is very important. You know, any kind of delay, especially when it comes to high tech, protecting your IP, you don't want to know about it years down the line. You need to know now.
You know, the fast track, you could not hit the nail on the head in more firmer fashion. We talk about that here, those of us who have been to China. How long have they been talking about a new airport in New York, Chicago, other metropolitan areas? And China built the one outside of Beijing in like, what, 5 years from soup to nuts. It was amazing. So which sectors do you think are going to see really significant increase in foreign investment since this law's adoption upgrade, if you will?
Well, I mean, I think it continues on a trend. And major equipment, transportation services, financial services, technology, obviously something very, very important. I think people are looking at China as a manufacturing base that is the most competitive and a mature logistics system that links it to the entire world. So if you're going to be manufacturing something, you want the low cost, you want to be beating out your competitors.
Right.
You really have to be considering China. Even if you say, well, for political purposes, I'm going to have a factory in Vietnam. The fact is, your intermediate goods are still going to be coming from China.
Einar, real quickly, China needs this foreign investment as well. They've talked about it. How important is it going to be to the future of China?
I think it's important the money is great. Obviously, you need that and you want that. But I mean, it's the technology. China has a very different idea about technology than in Europe and the United States. There, it's about extracting rents. China wants to cooperate to jointly develop technology with those outside of China in terms of developing and developed countries.
Okay, my friend, good stuff. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend coming up. And again, Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, you too, Sean.